Yellie's back, Uecker was back, and the Brewers bounced back. And another win over the Cardinals. All that's coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I have to tell you, got in my car in my Thursday night golf league. And of course, normally I'm rushing to get home. I am rushing to get home. I'm about a half hour away from the golf course where I play on Thursday nights, playing Horicon. And I'm driving back to Lomira. I think it's no secret that I live in Lomira. So I'm driving back there and I get in my car, turn on the game. And there on the radio, on the Brewers radio network, is Bob Uecker. A pleasant surprise. I mean, Bob Uecker. The guys who are around Bob Uecker, they're great. I love them. But Bob Uecker is the voice track of most of our lives. And I got in the car and I was like, wow, Bob Uecker. And then he calls 2 home run balls. And I'm telling you, it's just when you hear Bob Uecker, there's something about the sounds of summer, to me at least. And I'm sure a lot of you out there where you're on a lake or on a golf course, listening to the game, home, whatever. Listening to Bob Uecker is the voice track for a lot of us who grew up Brewers fans. And the other night when I was mentioning the Brewers broadcasters, I did not, about the guys. I enjoy all these guys, but I didn't mention Uecker because you almost forget because Uecker is so infrequently on the broadcast. And here he was on the broadcast, sounding great as ever. I mean, you don't guess that this guy's 90 years old. And if you watch him off camera, I've seen him off TV, I would say off video and, around AmFam Field, man, you wouldn't guess this guy. This guy is one of the more lively 90-year-olds around. And that voice, and he was sharp on the broadcast. And that was really cool to hear him call those home run balls. Got my night off to a great start as I'm cruising through South Central Wisconsin on my way home, and a Brewers 7-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Google, Spotify, Apple, run all the major downloads. Hit us up on YouTube. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube, and we'll be right there. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode of Locked On Brewers. Didn't think I was going to start my show with talking about Bob Uecker, but sometimes I'm just spontaneous here on this. It's organic. I got a bunch of notes I got here. I got things I'm going to talk about and all that, sure. And I was going to mention something about Uecker, but yeah, getting out today and just hearing Uecker on the broadcast, it's like, man, when's the last time? Because I'm watching every game on TV, so I don't hear her. I wish Uecker was on TV for a little bit. I wish he did a few innings on TV. Like in Chicago, they put Pat Hughes on their TV side for a few innings. They've been doing that like this year. I'm like, man, it'd be great to hear Uecker on TV. And once in a while to bring him over to, talk to him about something very infrequently. But it's like, when I heard him, I was like, yeah, I wish he was on TV a little bit more on the TV audience. Because, let's face it, when we're in our house, we're watching the game on TV. When we're in our cars, which a lot of us are on the road and all that, we're listening to the soundtrack of our summer, Bob Uecker and Brewers baseball. So, yeah, it just was cool. And the Brewers, win 7-1. And any win over the St. Louis Cardinals, to me, is a great victory. A great victory. Because they are 4-0 against the Cardinals this year, and the Cardinals stink. They are bad. There's no way about it. They are not a good baseball team. This show is brought to you in part by Monopoly Go. Get to the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store or Google Play. The Cardinals are in last place in the National League Central. That seems that it's still a little surreal. They're slow start last year, but they're not very good. They got a couple of nice players. Nootbaar, obviously, really good, who homered tonight, and a few others. But the Brewers are a better team. But the Brewers swept the series from the Cardinals a couple of weeks ago at Busch Stadium, and they've come right back and taken the opener of this 4-game series at AmFam Field, winning 7-1. Early offense, which was great. Now, Sonny Gray being on the mound, I thought, Brewer offense, Sonny Gray, what are we going to get tonight? And it seems like, sometimes it's like the no-name guys that really blank the Brewers. It's like, who is this guy? And the Brewers can't get a run off him through 6 innings. And then Sonny Gray comes up, and the Brewers, he's had success against the Brewers, but the Brewers just tag him. He was leaving some pitches in there. And my man, Rhys Hoskins, I love me some Rhys Hoskins. He's got 8 home runs on the season. Every time he homers, I'm thinking to myself, Rhys is going to have a big summer. Big summer. Yeah, don't look at the batting average. 8 home runs, and he's going to come up with some big moments. That was my favorite offseason signing. One of my favorites in a long time. You know, I hope he is here for a couple of years, because I think when I watched him with the Phillies, I saw really, really good righties, lefties. I don't care. I love me some Rhys Hoskins. I like to see the big fella in the lineup every day. And, I like to see him, as I've told you, I'd like to see him in the 4-hole every day. And tonight, he was in the 5-hole behind Adames. But still, keep him out of the 6th hole. Don't bury him. Put him in the 4th hole. And he was in the 5th hole tonight. So I guess I'll take that. But, yeah, I love Rhys Hoskins and got the Brewers off to a great start. Brewers right away brought the bats to play. And then Bowers connects for a home run. He started at right field on Thursday night, and that was good to see. And the Brewers just kept on tacking on some runs here and there. Ortiz went yard as well. We're going to talk a little bit about him. But offensively, I think it starts with Christian Yelich. 2 games back now, 3 hits tonight. That ringing double, he turned on one down the right field line. And of course, he runs like a deer. I mean, you watch him, he runs like a deer yet. And I'm like, well, the back, the back didn't, that wasn't any slower. Christian Yelich that I saw tonight, if he had a back injury or is 100%, man, he sure ran like he's 100%, because he turned on that ball and he was off to the races, which was fun to see. And he drove it a run there. But Yelich, even on his outs, hard ground ball to short. I think his first couple times up, I believe he grounded out. But hard outs. The other night, on the final game of the road trip in Kansas City the other afternoon, I thought some hard outs. He went 0 for 5. He failed at a couple of situations. That dribbler at the end of the game, yeah, that wasn't allowed out. But I think Yelich's back. I hate to use that term, because I think that was a term we often used last year when we'd see him get on a little run. But certainly getting him back on this team in the heart of the order, batting third, huge boost for this team. Man, you always cross your fingers with him when he does great things like he did on Thursday night and say, God, I hope, that back, he doesn't wake up and the back and all that, because that's been a history with him. But man, if he can just conquer that thing, and I know we're going to have to live with it with him, but they need him in the heart of the order. They really do. I love Bryce Turang in that leadoff spot. I mean, Frelick was there for most of the year. And Yelich was in the 3-hole, in the leadoff spot most of the year last year, getting on base. But ideally, you'd love to have Yelich, and I've said this last year, ideally, you'd love to have Yelich in the heart of the order, batting third. A guy who's going to drive in runs. And I like Turang at the top of the order, getting up there, clutching up, and delivering, stealing bases. Another stolen base. He's 15 of 15. He's batting .314. I am convinced Turang is here to stay. He has figured it out. Didn't completely figure it out last year, but the light went on with Turang, and I love him in that leadoff spot. I do. I love him in that leadoff spot, and makes things happen in the base paths. Got a great leadoff hitter. Of course, the greatest leadoff hitter in Brewers history is number 4, Paul Molitor, and I'm not comparing him at all to my favorite all-time Brewer, Paul Molitor, but Molly would get on, get over, and get in. He'd make these the igniter. Turang, just get on base. Keep getting on base and stealing bases. Kind of like the great igniter did, Paul Molitor, number 4. I think his picture's up here somewhere. Marvelous Molitor. Is that where is that? Oh, there it is. The 37-game hitting streak, if you're watching me on YouTube. A 37-game, the newspaper the next day when Yeah, I think that wasn't the next day when his hitting streak ended. I think that was during the hitting streak when he just kept on, it was amazing. 39-game hitting streak. Marvelous Molitor. Yeah, I'm not comparing him to Molitor, but in a sense, get him on, get him over, get him in. Turang getting on base somehow and getting the second. Molitor is one of the greatest hitters in Brewers baseball. He's one of the greatest hitters in baseball history, period. I think he would have challenged for 4,000 hits had he stayed healthy in his entire career, because look how many seasons he's missed because of injuries. But Turang, love him in the leadoff spot. Joey Ortiz. I saw a piece about Ortiz being, should he be the everyday third baseman? Has he earned it? I think right now, he's the best option at third base. Am I willing to marry him at this point, the third base? Am I putting all my eggs in him at third base? No. Not yet. Let's give him some more time. But hit a home run. He's batting like 267. Obviously, defensively, he's really, really good. I'd like a little bit more power over at third base. But for right now, I'm willing to go with that guy over. I'd rather play him every day at third base than Ali Dunn and Monasterio. Now, if you're going to spell Ortiz from time to time, yes. But right now, I would put Ortiz as my everyday third baseman. Am I committed to him long-term as my third baseman? I'm just trying to get through May at first. I'm trying to get through this Cardinals series. But I like what I see of Ortiz and some of the things he does, especially what he does against right-handed pitching, especially his numbers against right-handed pitching. So Ortiz right now, he's Mr. Right Now for me at third base. Contreras had 3 more hits, just a lot of success. And the Brewers, they're just such a resilient team. All right, we'll come right back. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to tell you about a new sponsor for the Locked On Podcast Network, and that is Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix, easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, budget preferences. I order the boxes, what I want it, and how I want. No subscription at all. And they send me 5 just for me pieces. Plus, they give me some recommendations, pro styling advice. I keep what works, send what's back, send it right back in the mail. And that is the way it works. My stylist always sends the right pieces. The fit is on point. Like they have ESP. They know exactly. You get something from them and it's like, man, they have a way of matching you up. Stitch Fix makes it so easy. I don't like shopping at all. I love these things delivered, these clothes delivered to my house. Styles that make you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/MLB. Get $20 off your first fix at stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of sign up. And this is Chuck Freeman. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Find us on Google, Spotify, Apple, all those major downloads. Set your alerts there. And, of course, on YouTube, go to Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. Yeah, getting the Sonny Gray early on, that was so key in this game. And I'm going to talk about the pitching end here. The pitching, successful again. Bullpen, Tobias Myers, with his start. The velo was up a little bit tonight, which was great to see. 4 innings, 3 hits, 6 Ks, and they got him out of there on 84 pitches. Yeah, he ran into some traffic out there, but for the most part, I'll take that from Tobias Myers again. You better have Johnny Bullpen warming up in the bullpen, everybody ready to go, at least right now, but he's learning, and that's where we are right now. And again, another guy who's going out there and holding the fort down and doing his job. A guy who, you didn't count on at all. Not a lot of, not at all did we expect this guy to be in the starting rotation. But a guy just going out there and battling through 4 innings. Yeah, you're going to use the bullpen likely when Tobias is on the hill, which I get. But I liked what he did again tonight. Again, 6 Ks. The velo was up for him. Koenig. What more can you say about Jared Koenig? He has quietly come in and become the vulture on this team. When I say vulture, he drops down and he picks up the win. He's 4-1 right now. Got the win in middle relief, 2 solid innings, 1 hit, 2 Ks, Raise your hand if you're counting on Jared Koenig to be a big part of the middle relief on this team. Said nobody. Jared Koenig. Hobie came in. He did his job as well. Hobie, after a little struggle early on in the season, he's bounced back and had quite a few solid starts in relief. And then Vieira just kind of mopped up the final 2 innings. They didn't have to go deep into their bullpen, and that was it. So Myers goes 4 innings, but Koenig and Milner, the big relief. And, of course, the Brewers offense, they get the 6 runs through 5 innings, and they're able to support the pitching staff. They don't put a lot of pressure on the pitching staff tonight, which was great. The offense, when I say that, the offense went out and scored some runs. When they're scoring 2 or 3 runs, you're putting a lot of pressure on your pitching staff. Brewers, especially with the early offense, the 4 runs over the first 2 innings, you're against Sonny Gray especially, you're going out there and giving your team a chance. There was no Churio in the lineup tonight, but I like the lineup tonight. I like the lineup. Terang, Contreras, Yelich, Adames. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Adames in the cleanup spot. I want Rhys Hoskins there, but I would bet Adames 5th, but he was 4th tonight. Hoskins 5th. Frelick was 6th. Gary Sanchez in the 7th spot. Bowers in right field batting 8th, and Ortiz, the third baseman, batting 9th. And I don't know. I know some of you are down on Sanchez. He's hit some big homers this year. I like the big fella's power in the lineup. I don't mind DHing that guy once in a while because he's going to load the 2 or 3 run home run. And somebody asked me the other day on Twitter, Chuck, do you think the Brewers have gotten away from ABC baseball? You're right. I think they have a little bit. And I think, the get the guys over, get them on, get them in, because a lot of guys haven't got guys on. They have not got the clutch hits, I should say. They got guys on, but a lot of times they can't get the clutch hits. But when you get the clutch hits in those situations with runners in scoring position, yeah, you're playing ABC baseball like the Brewers were early in the season. Tonight, they went yard 3 times, something they haven't done much at all this year. The home run balls banging out of the ballpark. So I like that tonight, but ABC baseball, would I like to see more of that? Certainly, which means, get your guy over to second base or third base, and let's have a clutch hit. We need more of that. But lot to like about this game. I did think, though, when Burleson for the Cardinals, I think it was the 5th inning. Yeah, it was the 5th inning against Koenig when he had the bases loaded. And Koenig getting out of that bases loaded jam with nobody out and the mess that was left for him. I thought that was just fantastic. Base loaded. But Burleson hits the fly ball to right, and I thought that was gone. When it was off the bat, I thought it was gone at AmFam Field, that short porch in right field. But it dropped right in Bauer's glove in right, and that was it right there. And the Brewers were never threatened because it was 5-1 at that point, and a granny there ties the game up. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We'll talk about who's pitching on a Friday night at AmFam Field. Who's pitching coming up on Friday night? Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Couldn't do it without the great sponsors like DoorDash. Mother's Day is coming up. Hey, here's what you need to do. Does your mom have a sweet tooth? Is she a tech enthusiast? Hey, how about a gift card or 2? No matter what she's into, you can make her smile with fruit or flower bouquets, makeup, tech gear, workout wear, and more. Get your Mother's Day gifts all in one place at DoorDash. Up to 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now. The code is Locked On MLB. Locked On MLB. Order using DoorDash today, and these terms will apply. Mother's Day, hey, your mom, she's going to tell you, hey, no, you don't have to get me anything for Mother's Day. But that's not what she really means. She really means, yeah, it would be great if I get a gift, but don't go to any problems because she doesn't want to bother her kids, okay? But you know what, though? You need to do something for your mom because moms have done a world of good for all of us out there. So 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with DoorDash. The show is also brought to you in part by Policygenius. Life insurance is so huge. And if you have kids out there or Yeah, I have a 12-year-old. So I don't know if he's in insurance just yet, but when he is in the working world, absolutely. I'm going to say, son, you need to have life insurance. Have you ever heard about Policygenius before? If not, you should check it out. If you have life insurance, I do, but there's only so much that can cover, and you want to keep your options open. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies and their team of licensed experts on hand to talk you right through everything. Your work life insurance policy may not be enough for your protection or for your family's needs, or even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policygenius gives you an unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They will work with you. So check life insurance off your to-do list. We all should. In no time with Policygenius. Policygenius.com. Policygenius is one word.com/LockedOnMLB. Click the link in the description right there, and you'll get your free life insurance quotes to see how much you can save. That's Policygenius.com. And I'm Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. Down the stretch we come after this timeout. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman here on a Friday. Hope I see you at the ballpark this weekend. Be out there Friday, possibly Saturday, and for sure on Sunday. Friday and Sunday for sure. Covering the game. Going to be sitting in the stands with the family as well. And then, I do my job going down the locker room, sit down with the kids and all that. My kid, he likes to cheer for the other teams, which he's been doing since he was a kid, real little kid. And I'm trying to get him to fall in love with the Milwaukee Brewers, and I just can't do it. I just cannot do it. I don't know why. I just can't. But he loves going to the games. He loves going to the games. I got Corbin Burns' autograph last year, and I said, wow, if you'd have told Corbin at the time you're not a Brewer fan, you might not have gotten that. But I'm still working on the kid. Robert Gasser is pitching, one of the top pitching prospects in the Brewer organization. The bone spurs he had earlier this year, left-hander, got a good slider. That's his go-to pitch. Minor leagues, 17 innings, 12 Ks down in the minors. In the spring training, he had an ERA of 2.40, I believe, in 4 outings or so. He's the guy they brought over in the Hader trade. We're going to see him. We talked a lot about him in the offseason, about what his role could he be in the starting rotation, could he be that number 5 starter, and we'll see if he is here to stay. Murph was talking about how excited he was to see him pitch. Obviously he's watched the video of him and have seen him and saw him, and obviously watched him through down at spring training, and here he is. He's going to get the start. Gasser's going to get the start coming up on Friday night. I think St. Louis is TBA. And this was late Thursday night I was taping this. I still saw TBA. Quite frankly, there was no betting line on the game either. So the line is off the board. I would expect the Brewers are probably a slight underdog. They were an underdog tonight. Oh, underdog tonight against the Cardinals. Cardinals were like a minus 135, I think, at game time. At home, Brewers, the way they are at home against the Cardinals, I will take that every time. Give me the Milwaukee Brewers. And they came through. So we'll see what Robert Gasser. I have a hunch he's going to pitch well tomorrow night. Seems like the Brewers, they push all the right buttons when they bring these guys up from the minors. At least the first couple of starts. They've done it with Tobias and a few other guys. And let's hope that Gasser can give them one, and they can make it 6 in a row. They've won 9 of 10 against St. Louis, and they've won 5 in a row. Let's make it 6 in a row. Let's keep burying the Cardinals. Just bury them. So we don't have to see them at all in July and August, and certainly in September in the pennant race. There's enough teams who are going to be in this race, and they were just chirping all game at the home plate umpire. They were ticked off at the strike zone. I'm surprised Marmol didn't get kicked out because they were chirping up a storm out of that dugout. All right, that's going to do it. Man, if you see me at the ballpark this weekend, please, by all means, come up to me. I don't care if I'm with my 12-year-old or Shannon's with me or whatever. Please, if you're going to buy me one of those $7 hot dogs, please come up to me. You don't have to do that, but I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you at the ballpark. say my name. I'd love to take a selfie with you at all, because you know what? The Brewer fans, I'm a Brewers fan. You're a Brewers fan. I'm in the media, but you know what? I can't take off my Brewers fandom because I love it, man. I'm going to look forward to being out there at AmFam Field this weekend, being out there watching our team play against the St. Louis Cardinals. Our first place Milwaukee Brewers at, what did I write that down? 22-15. I'll take it. 22-15. It's going to do it. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. We'll see you late Sunday night, everybody, with our next episode of Locked On Brewers.